and welcome to this edition of Calf Chat. Today we're going to talk about smooth transitions. We're going to talk about how do we get those calves moving. Once we get them off milk, get them into that next step, grouping. What are some really great tips to make that a really easy, comfortable transition so they keep eating, they keep drinking, and continue to grow at a rapid pace. So first of all, I think it's important to just make mention in the pre-wean barns that they have to have really good starter consumption in order for them to be ready to wean. We'd really like to see calves eating a minimum of 5 pounds of starter for at least 3 consecutive days before we even consider them ready for the move. Calves that are eating less than that, chances are they won't eat well when they deal with the stressors of the move, grouping, feed. So once we move them into our transition facilities, some things to look at are group sizing. The smaller the group, the better they will do. Ideally, we like to be in group sizes of 12 or less, if possible. Square footage is a big role in that. We want to have somewhere around 28 to 30 square feet of resting space to give those calves lots of area of room to move around. Along with resting space, then we also look at volume of air or airspace. So the combination of resting space and making sure that the air is right, whether that's through natural ventilation, climate controlled ventilation, positive pressure tubes. I mean, there's multiple ways to ventilate facilities. The next things to really look at are, again, providing proper bedding. Here we're standing in this transition barn. Something that they do once they go into the transition pens is they actually bed the scrape alley of the first pen, because these calves have never walked on concrete before. So that gives them a nice, easy footing. Once in a while, they'll put a bunk inside the pen just to get them adjusted so they don't have to figure out how to stick their heads through right away. Anything you can put on the fence line will help, because as you watch calves, they tend to circle the barn. And so if the feed and the water are on the fence line, making sure that the waters are at a good throat height. If they can't reach it or they have to stretch for it, that will limit intake. And then next, if they're too low, they may defecate in them and get dirty easier. So obviously we want to make sure that they're clean. In this facility, when they first move into their group, they come in pens of 5 or 6, and then they bring them into a small pen, and they actually have small feed bunks where they're lifted up. So they're similar in height, a little bit higher than the pails that they come from, but again, they're not reaching to the floor. So the feed is at their level and easy for them to find. Along with the waters, they have them at a good throat height where the calves are easy access for them. In the winter, they have heaters in them in order to keep them from freezing, and they're also easy to clean. So again, as we're looking at all these different transitions and things for calves, we want to make sure that we keep the feed the same if we can, from the pre-wean pens to your grouping pens. Don't make the change at the day of the move. We don't want to vaccinate, we don't want to dehorn, we don't want to castrate, do any kind of those stressors on the day of the move if possible. Try and keep things pretty much to a minimum of grouping, just letting them figure out who their friends are, the new pecking order in the circle. So again, as we're talking about these smooth transitions, it's just these little things that will really make the move go well and keep those calves growing. So if you have any questions, always please contact your Vita Plus rep, your Vita Plus dealer, and we'd be happy to help you, and always happy calf raising.